It's all good. All right. All right, we're on LinkedIn. I think we're set. If you're tuning in, pardon our technical difficulties. We are experts when it comes to AI and amateurs when it comes to LinkedIn and YouTube and Twitter live streaming. Very excited today to talk about personal intelligence, PIE, which is our favorite food here at Enable. In fact, we only get paid in pie. But the goal here today is really talk about how we're using AI to personalize and augment ourselves, both externally and with some of the tools that we've built. Let's see if we get John here on screen to join us, do some demos. We'll take some questions and have a little bit of fun. Looks like we're on YouTube Live. Hey, YouTube Live.
Hey, YouTube Live. Hey, YouTube.
Awesome. Keep sending the comments and the requests. So, John, sir, how you doing? You got audio? All right. You guys hear that?
Yeah.
I have a guest in the studio, and he's very happy.
I was just going to say.
He just had a bottle, so he's in a pretty good mood.
How does one keep track of all said comments?
I have no.
Use your eyeballs.
Hey, Dr. Jules.
Thanks, James.
I'm just trying to be practical.
I wasn't sure if they were going to stream in from all the other platforms or not. This is different being on the stage side of things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're still figuring it all out, right? So I think that what we know is we can talk about some things. It gets recorded. I think we can chop it up and take the useful pieces as well. Last time we did one of these, we talked about creativity, customization with music. Today, I think I want to go deeper into writing. So let me start with this, James. What was the first? Do you remember the first piece of content that you wrote with AI?
Yeah, it was an email, and it was I can't remember exactly what it was, but the content that was generated was extremely generic, so generic to the extent that it was like, "Hey team, I can't even remember. It was something like, go do the thing today." And it was like, okay, well, it's not wrong, but it wasn't very informative. It's just like, go do stuff. But that's all I can really remember about it. I just remember I tried doing an email, and it was less than an ideal experience, but it was funny, unintentionally funny.
Now, was that ChatGPT, or were you playing with this stuff before it was cool?
That was ChatGPT, I think 3. Whatever the first version of the model that sort of hit the mainstream early on there was, I think it was 3.
Awesome.
But it was not very personalized or intelligent.
Got it. Yeah, I think I did some generation with was it Bert could do it? But
yeah, Bert can do some like semantic.
I think I was using it for classification more than at the time. It was like generation sounds cool, but it's no way it's gonna get to where we need it to get to anytime soon. Little did I know. Looks like Jules Cullen, his first prompt was to do his homework. Or the software, statistics software. So you were vibe coding before it was cool. Nice. Us too. I remember in December, I was during the holiday break of 2022. So ChatGPT was out for a week or two, and I was just writing like the funniest like limericks, or like I had a away message on my like out of office for the holidays, which was like this whole like Christmas carol that was customized to like, if you want so and so, call so and so, and you know, naughty or nice, and like it was kind of clever. Never could have done it on my own. But
Yeah, now
It's like those old school AIM
that's right.
statuses for all
Yeah.
the crazy capitals and way too much
That's-
time spent on those.
well, now that I'm thinking about it, I did do the whole Shakespeare thing. That was I feel like that was a trend for a little bit. But I had I remember I used ChatGPT to explain like this Python code I wrote as Shakespeare, in iambic pentameter, and then I
Nice.
sent that to the team.
Python's already a foreign language to most, let alone putting in Shakespeare.
That's all you need is iambic pentameter weaved into your coding experience. Yeah, no, that was fun. I feel like that we did that for a while, and then I did like a RPG thing where I made like a dungeon master, and had it do like a D&D sort of simulation. That was fun.
Nice. What about you, Nicole? What was the first time?
When did it came out around like the holidays, right?
Yeah,
I
it was
think
like November.
we tried using it for like Christmas shopping or like looking for new fun ideas for unique presents or whatnot. I know John came out with a like really early on, like would it even call it festive or something? And he was passing it around to different people. Here, use this for your Christmas shopping. And it was funny because my mom actually used it and found a Pitt football jersey, and she ended up buying 2 little Pitt football jerseys for my nephews. And she's like, "Look at that! I used it. Thanks." So, but
Nice.
emails definitely very frequent use. Not always great. ChatGPT usually beat Copilot though, so there's that.
Still does.
Yeah.
Hey, John.
Lots of contracts and legal documentation.
We're having all sorts of fun technical challenges.
Oh
today.
yeah,
But I think we're live
downloading
now.
drivers and dealing with that. I don't know why. Like always, every app in Microsoft or the computer wants to update when you actually need it.
We were just going around saying our first time we did creative writing with generative AI. Whether it was OpenAI, was it before?
That was oh man, first time doing creative writing. I think the first time I did anything close to that, I was essentially asking it to simulate like entire environments or instances. Like instead of like just writing like in a style, I think the way I was using it was to create through text like environments and predict outcomes, which was really interesting to see that in certain cases it got the right answer, in certain cases it got the
You're
wrong
telling
answer.
me from the
John
very
was in
moment-
2025, 3 years ago.
From the very moment somebody said, "Hey, look at this thing. It can write whatever you want," and you went straight to like create worlds.
I mean, that's where I don't know. I think that's where my imagination lives.
That's great. I mean, that's great.
Like I just do like in my mind it like when I'm thinking about something, I'm creating an environment, not just a thing. Like I try to think about the possibility of like how it could be applied or the utility of the thing. But in order to do that, I kind of like simulate the world around it.
Yeah.
That's just like I'm very visual, so I have to visualize all of that in my head.
The artist in you.
To me, like that was the cool thing. Like it could put all that visualization into words, whereas before it was really hard for me to turn that into text.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, from humble beginnings, it was all look where we ended up. I'm going to present this here if I can share my screen. Chaos Gremlin.
This is actually the one that I have up.
Oh, good. I wasn't sure if you were.
Favorite, oh my god, it's my favorite
We
one
went
right
from
now.
we went from simulating worlds and universes to the Chaos Gremlin.
But that's what
Actually,
it
it kind
is.
of makes sense.
That's
Yeah.
what the Chaos Gremlin is. That's what I posted that the other day, and I think that was the first thing somebody reached out to me. They're like, "What in the world is this?" And that's why I added the Chaos Gremlin 101 under it
Mhm.
to explain what it is, because most people think that that's somehow a negative connotation, but actually it's an innovation term.
It's a Chaos Gremlin.
Chaos Gremlin is an innovation term.
Yeah. So it's essentially the Chaos Gremlin. Obviously there's the negative connotation with gremlins, but the point is the chaos is the opposite. So if you're trying to innovate or brainstorm, it's how do I take a concept or the way that you're thinking and I do the opposite on purpose to understand the outcome. So to most people that is absolute chaos. But the reality is when you're trying to brainstorm and figure things out, it's a new way of envisioning like how a system might work or function.
Chaos Gremlin.
So I'm just playing around with this. If you're following us along on our Nexus journey, we just got all these new toys out of production, including Chaos Gremlin. And you know the avenues. I think the way you put it, John, with the you thought about the environment first and you put it all into context, and that's kind of what you've given us with a bunch of these pre-generated entities. So you want to explain maybe what is a personal intelligence entity and how's that different from a prompt?
Well, yeah. So I think the entities are actually, we have to separate the entities out, because when you're selecting Chaos Gremlin, you're actually selecting a subset of the entity itself. You're really creating something or embedding a part of the personality into the entity. So the entity or a pie is comprised of data, your information from like who you are, your bio, like a little bit of just like what we would consider like community public available information. And then it's also taking into account what we give you is a 500 character sort of roles prompt that you can create yourself to give it more specificity. And then the last layer is this sort of like foundational entity personality or persona. I really think they're more in line with personas than they are personalities, in my opinion. But the ability to swap between personas is something that I kind of added like last minute before we pushed the release, because I even found myself using the personas differently and sort of creating different combos very quickly between, you know, a project manager and talking through, you know, what a product looks like, and then moving into the Chaos Gremlin to like think about how I could innovate on what that thing is or a different direction that I could take that thing. So it kind of just I don't know. I think it kind of naturally fit that you could move quickly between personas and still use your core pie where it knows who you are and like what you are and about you, which stays fundamental to like what the personal intelligence entity is really about.
Dude, I just have to give you kudos. I mean, but this was not like a live demo is always the worst way to do this thing. But I asked Chaos Gremlin, who I would expect to be the least helpful persona we have, to describe itself, and it may be this chart. And I think this encapsulates it, right?
Yeah,
PIE,
that's pretty good.
it knows me, it knows my business, and then it has its own Chaos Gremlin energy with characteristics that all comes together to be the version of my personal intelligence that I want to use to assist with my creative writing.
And if James did that exact demo, it would be different.
Well, definitely the left side would.
Well, just the way it maps, because based off of James's bio and like who James is and what his core prompt is, the persona is going to take on a different approach to like his guidance or goals or like how he's crafted that. And because these are, how would you say, these prompts are not, these are not prompts in the traditional sense. They're actually created organically each time you prompt the AI. So you're not using system prompts like you traditionally see them in something like a GPT or inside of a agent. They're actually building. The system prompt itself is actually when you prompt the AI is building, and each time that you hit that button to prompt it again, it's changing.
Yeah. Much like we do.
Send me your prompt there, Randy. I'll run it on mine and see what
James wants to
the,
live demo.
see what the Chaos Gremlin says about me.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'll run it too because I'm curious.
Actually,
I'll do it
I
in
have
dark
to-
mode. 'Cause-
I have to fill out my bio really quick. Otherwise, the Chaos Gremlin's going to be like, I don't know this person.
This is all an elaborate ruse to get everybody to test.
Well, I think one thing that might be good, Randy, is to show the reasoning.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Do you?
Because I
How do you
think
feel
there's
about?
there's sort
Are
of a
you good to
different.
share?
Yeah, there's a different. I can share, sure. Do I need to do it in light mode? Is that a lot?
No.
It sears my eyes. Share screen, window. I think it's this one. Yeah. There we go.
Edit my bio.
So one of the things that I wanted to do in our design is give the user more control. So sometimes you do want just a chatbot and you want it to directly answer you. So even just a basic interaction can be very direct. But in that same thing, you may want a higher level of reasoning. So we can talk. Let's talk about who you are. And one of the things that I wanted to do was expose all the reasoning. So the user can essentially use that reasoning in an audit if they really want to. But the goal was to make this as simple as possible. So at the end of the day, what you really end up with is the main thing that you came for, and that's the question you're asking. And that answer is easily grabbed. But if you want to dive deeper into how it's reasoning or what it's thinking about, you can do that very quickly. And the reasoning part streams first, so you get to kind of see what it's doing. But even in that, you can move into and out of the reasoning. And if you see something in the reasoning that you want it to change, which is the key part, you can give it guidance directly to change that. And it's kind of like a way to both handle prompting the reasoning and explain, like, I need you to think about this a different way, as well as focus on what you actually wanted out of the outcome. So in this instance, I just wanted to know who it was. So it gives me name, as well as like who created it, role, purpose, and then really what its DNA is, what it's made out of. So that's how the reasoning works. You can turn it off and on and move very quickly between just very direct chatbot type interaction or an actual reasoning agent.
So let's talk about creativity. How do you use this, John? How do you bring Chaos Gremlin or some of the more other personas? We talked about in the beginning there was just a text box and you just put in your stuff and you created worlds. You imagine 2025 back in 2019. How are you using Chaos Gremlin and chat in Nexus now to imagine 2030?
I actually have been using it a lot for creativity, organization. The project manager has been one that I have heavily used recently, even to the extent of just taking a entire project plan, dropping the project plan directly in, and then reasoning through priorities, Eisenhower matrix application, and asking it to understand risk and impact, and then to apply risk and impact to, with the way I think, to that Eisenhower matrix, and then working through that to look at like do now versus do later, which has been super helpful for me with, you know, all the competing priorities. But yeah, I especially the Chaos Gremlin is more ideation and how you think. There's also a couple like creative visionary, more artistic. There's a lot around just different ways to think. I've even used the Zen Master, which was funny and fun. But each of these have different influences on what you do. That's kind of the unique side of this, is you may have used one of these. And I, you know, what was your prompt, Randy? Did you drop that? Because I can do that real quick.
Yeah, I put it over in the chat. It was,
let me grab that.
who are you? Describe a situation where you'd be chaotic, and describe yourself as graphically as possible. And I love that when I said describe yourself as graphically as possible, it gave me a graph. Not very chaotic, but I appreciate it. Oh,
It gave me a ASCII art, a mermaid diagram, a color palette, and a mood board.
you're back.
Did I? Yeah, I don't know what just happened. I just got booted.
The Chaos Gremlin struck again.
Yeah. Well, that's I think that's what lives on my PC. That's different.
But I mean, I think it is important, like, you know, not to get too philosophical or psychological outside of my area of expertise, but there's something to like visualization and, you know, personifying something when you're trying to get into a certain writing mode. Like when I'm in project management mode, you know, I almost want like drill sergeant, right? Like I want to think very discreetly. These are the things that have to happen, by whom, by when. And if I'm working with AI to craft that message, I want that kind of AI. I don't want something that's going to take me off on tangents or, you know, give me rich allegory. Whereas when I'm writing a LinkedIn post, I'm usually trying to be funny or educational, or if I'm really lucky, both. And so I like to bring in those anecdotes, or I like to do something that like has a bit more dad humor. And sometimes just having the right mindset for my AI mind makes all the difference.
Where is this prompt?
Oh my goodness.
It's in the chat.
Which
Yeah.
chat?
We're on the struggle bus today.
Yeah, we are.
Not
On one of
The
the
marketing chat.
here you go. Now I've added it to the StreamYard chat.
Oh, perfect. And then you did yours automatically come with a mermaid chart?
I did
How
one
did
at a time. I was just chatting with it. So who are you? Describe a situation where you'd be chaotic. And describe yourself as graphically as possible.
And then you asked it to create a chart, or you just grabbed what?
No, I said describe
Third
yourself as
sentence.
graphically as possible. And I said, okay, I'll make a graph.
Gotcha. Yeah, so mine didn't. I think mine because of the prep. Let me
Sometimes
figure it out.
sometimes obsessive compliance with the instruction is actually chaotic.
Fair point.
Do you want to share your screen? I think we lost the.
Yep.
My mermaid chart came up with a chaos engine and an empathy module.
Oh, nice. You want to share it?
It's not as quite as entertaining as yours, but let's see John's first.
I actually prompted it beforehand, so I'm about to demo this. Please don't mess it up.
See, mine's asking what do I want, which is interesting. But
you're in Violet right now. I don't know if you're trying to get the chaos.
Oh, I'm in Project Manager. Yeah, I switched.
I mean, yeah, the project
that would
manager
make sense
is.
why I'm not getting anything close. Let's jump into the Chaos Gremlin.
Yeah.
Here,
as
Nicole can.
as a relatively new feature, you know, for our community, you get to vote. You know, which entities do you like the best? How do you want them to show up? Which one should we create? You know, and the vision here is eventually multiple of those entities are you. You get to pick your at work entity, your at home entity, your community group entity, your strange clown emoji entity, whatever you want it to be.
All right.
Oh God,
We are going there.
we did not the clown. Then what is it? Insane clown agent, extreme clown agent.
We don't
That
talk about
didn't make-
extreme cloud agent.
Yeah, you already that did not make it, but man,
That's
was
a premium add-in. You actually we can upsell you to get that, and then you have to pay us for us to take it off.
You have to sign a waiver.
Yeah. You don't want it.
Oh man,
Or
that's
maybe you
hilarious.
do.
Was Nicole going to show hers?
It's currently generating its interpretation of its mood board into an image. So
Oh,
See if I can. Mine is. Okay. Sure. Hang on.
are you
Where's-
laughing while you're like going to present?
Shares
that's awesome.
They're just like, I'm going to present something that means they don't ask me back for a few weeks.
Yeah. All right. Let me share that. Can you see that?
Yep.
So my made a very logical graph of itself.
this is so you though, James.
Oh my God, that's so James.
Even our mermaid charts are logically separated.
That right there.
Appropriate.
You're telling me that's the same chart or the same prompt?
Output type, guess most logical diagram, generate
Oh my
diagram,
God.
deliver creative result, self-description, data, intelligent, adaptive, creative, logical, resourceful, chaotic mode, fill gaps with imagination. It was about right.
This is serious.
Uh,
That is awesome.
Yep.
Oh man,
Yeah, I named
You're-
mine Remy.
you're gonna shit yourself when you see what it came up for me.
I now don't want to share mine because mine is. I'm more worried about what it says about me than it does itself. It's too
Yes.
simple.
That's all for that.
It's too simple.
That's something else. You come onto our platform, you might learn something about yourself.
Yeah.
When your AI knows you better than you know yourself.
Man.
Or in my case, it just confirms
It's
what
funny.
I already
You see
know.
a lot of John Petty slip through some of the cracks in the personalities.
What are you talking about?
See Grammy reason. All right, I'm done sharing.
So wait, I wanted to see Nicole's.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. I'll show you.
Show us.
I need to show you my image that just came up with too.
I'm addicted to sparkling water now.
You're welcome. Like,
I was thinking about the sparkling water machine you had and investing in one because starting
worth
to go
it.
through
all right,
I'm
guys,
starting
you
to
guys
go through
aren't
quite
ready
a-
for this. Ready?
quite a few cans of Bellevue.
All right, Nicole. Oh, there he is. That's cute.
Right. This is the prompt that I took for the mood board and the interpretation of color palette, and that is what he came up with. So that is my chaos gremlin.
Nice.
I'm gonna
High
magic
core.
prompt it.
Empathy mode.
This is my very simple mermaid chart, which just tells me I need to update my profile.
Sparks laughter. What does it say? Laughter equals lowered inhibitions equals better ideas. Am I reading that right? I can't see it.
Yeah, up here, the analysis. But this was how he. So this is how he came across originally when I asked him who he was.
When would Pi unleash chaos? I love having fun with the stuff that we built.
Right.
Yeah. Did you use the magic prompt to enhance your photo?
I was just about to. I wanted to add him to my thing first.
See,
No,
while
I
we're
think
doing
like fun and creativity, that's part of the point, right? Like that's how we get the real cool stuff by just playing. Because
Oh, yeah.
what we're doing right now is goofy, but the project manager thing is holy crap. And like
Yeah, I mean,
it was
balance.
all the things.
it was cool that we got it in, and then like the next day we're talking about project management, and I was able to drop it in there and actually use it, and it helped me.
Same.
did pretty well with those Gantt charts.
Holy crap! That's what blew me away. The Gantt chart, being able
Gantt
to
chart was really cool.
yeah, pretty much that whole project that quickly and accurately. That was what I mean. I spent a while
Holy
auditing
smokes.
its ability to do that. Wow, that's cool.
So that's what happens when you use the magic prompt.
Ish.
Before and
Yeah.
after.
So before and after. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Now I need to make him into oh, I lost it. Hang on.
You know what's crazy is just the difference in how the Chaos Gremlin is describing itself based off the influence of our personalities and who we are.
Well, now we need a like a stuffed animal chaos gremlin. And a whole line of enable stuffies.
First,
What
Looks like
prompt
a-
once we hit 5,000 subscribers,
like and subscribe.
we will create a merchandise line.
Ring that bell for alerts.
go from Chaos Gremlin to
We will create a merchandise
own.
line,
This
and
is so cool.
this will be our first product that we sell in the merch store. It'll be
I
a
love it.
stuffed Chaos Gremlin.
I don't know. Like for me, the biggest thing that I've always used a lot of the stuff that we build for is to be that cognitive surplus, right? James, we've talked about this from a work perspective, like for a long time, but
For
like
many years. Yep.
yeah, like I can spend time thinking about all of these things, right? And there's only so much cognitive fatigue that you can take in a day. In decision fatigue, right, is probably the most well-known or well talked about, but taking the load off of creativity or helping you be creative faster, which is really a lot of what I like to use it for. How fast can I ideate and move across the way I'd like to approach something? And of course, my Chaos Gremlin is digital. You guys, I can't even make this up.
Question from
We have
YouTube
some
is
questions in chat. I
how
wanna
many
make sure we
times
address.
can you use the magic prompt on top of the magic prompt?
As many times as you want.
I think it's infinite. Yes.
And there's another one above that too. Once you're
Can you explain the difference between using my Pi versus just visiting the Nexus canvas?
Your Pi is in Nexus Canvas. Technically your Pi is everywhere. As part of this change, we added your Pi to every page in the app. So actually, I can share my screen.
So you get a
And I
Pi.
think we keep saying Pi, but it's personal intelligence entity for
Yes.
for those here listening to us talk about like baking things.
Yeah, sorry if that's what you tuned in for. We'll drop a recipe at the end.
We'll drop.
Strawberry
So-
rhubarb, anyone?
So
Ooh.
my Chaos Gremlin is digital.
Ooh. Well, I need to see what my
That's
Chaos,
appropriate.
my Chaos
Yeah.
Gremlin's gonna be like a nerd.
And then this is how it describes itself: glitch core aesthetic, neon static pixel traits, idea grenades, reverse psychology, and jazz hands. Operation modes are helpful Pi, data and strategy. It's chaos mode or gremlin protocol, which is mischief and cognitive dissidence. It's outcome controlled wildfire, burn boredom, and grow ideas.
So to really answer the question from YouTube, right? This is a feature of the Canvas and of the whole Nexus program, and the reason we add it is because anybody can just create with AI and just write with it. Right? Again, we've been doing this for years. What we're finding using this approach, using an entity like this, either co-create or bounce ideas off of, having that persona and having the having a thing that's still slightly customized to me, but it's definitely thematic. You get very different answers from Chaos Gremlin versus like Project Manager, or Drill Sergeant, or Wine Enthusiast. But the point being is that this is a tool to help you interact with all the other tools that we have, and start to stitch it all together.
Yes. Question from YouTube: is Pi aware of content entered in the canvas? So, if we go back, actually, we'll go to one of my other drafts. Let me go right here. So we have this content in here, and this is one of the things that we wanted to do was ensure that you have more control. So right now, if you're talking to a canvas, in most cases, the whole context is always added to the AI. What's fun about this is maybe I only want to address this line. And as soon as I grab it, I have quick actions that I can take, which are optimize prompts. So if I want to improve this, I just drop it and can improve it. If I want to change how it looks or responds, I can use the suggestions, but I get to choose that. Or if I want the whole thing, I can grab that entire context and say, update and add more detail. And it will follow that guidance. So the cool thing is really the only change here is from how you've probably seen Canvas in other apps is in this, we give you more control. So if you're ideating, you're moving across data, or you're just trying to refine a sentence versus refine an entire paragraph, all of those are choices that you have. And at any time, if you want to remove context, it's as simple as just not having it highlighted. The AI can see what you've highlighted. And then there's also a similar sort of one click that we've also created where you can move very quickly. If I want to shorten this, that's already pre-created, and I can move very quickly across any of those sort of fast prompts that I want to do very specific actions, even if it's just add emojis. So I think that answers the question.
I think it's worth mentioning too, the kind of the next layer of the awareness and contextual awareness is the projects too. I didn't know if you wanted to highlight that, because I know it's something that we released, got kind of a large facelift there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let me answer the other question and I'll cycle back to that. So I think the other question, what is the difference between Nexus Pi and other competitor chats that remembers my chats? So right now, that feature is not fully active, but what Nicole just mentioned is the basis and how that will work. So that's the next component. So if we go into Smart Projects and I want to add, we'll just do a test project really quick. And what this essentially does is we have a version of RAG graph that has really two different types of ways that it uses the data. One is traditional RAG graph. The other is more around relationships of the data. And what, I don't know, James, if I'm using the wrong term here, but I've called it a self-building ontology. But I don't know if there's another way I should be describing it, James, but that's like how I think about it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's another term for it, but it's kind of what it does. So
yeah, so I don't know why this is. Oh, I built it, but I'm getting stuck for some reason. Talk about live demos.
It basically starts understanding. It starts understanding and sort of codifying relationships.
Well, yeah, and that's fed to the AI in
Yeah.
layers. So there's sort of a memory triplet function. So there's different layers of AI that handle different parts of the project. So when I'm talking to this information, there's an understanding of objects, people, places, things, which is kind of normal. But there's also sort of these building associations with, like, if you mention John in one of these, and John is the CEO or founder of Enable, in these documents, if it mentions that and it starts talking about other, relationships with other entities, even though they may not be a person or a place or a thing, it may give John ownership of a document or give John understanding of certain types of information, because contextually it understands that if, John is part of this process or owns this content or generates this content, that he is now the person that has a relationship to it. So it can go much deeper than that, but ultimately that's kind of how it functions. And that allows the AI to have a different type of context. So when you search it, you're getting both like what you would normally see from a keyword and a semantic hybrid perspective, but you're getting this one extra layer of contextualization where it starts to understand like what objects and things have association and the relevancy of that association. So there's really a level deeper that this goes, but for where we're at right now, that relevancy is sort of the proximity to that other relationship. And it helps the LLMs really sort of give like different viewpoints of how it's looking at the data. So inside of Canvas, you get the ability to jump into any of these projects. Let me see which ones I have available.
Well, and I will say, while you're looking for that, I will say, like, that's like the foundational building block and the really important component here to when we're talking about personal intelligence. And I have a certain way that I think, and the way that I do things, or my subject matter knowledge, right? My wisdom, my experiences, as I start to interact here and feed data and solve problems, right? This will learn essentially how I operate, right? So I can sort of extend myself, and then this goes back to the commentary John was talking about earlier with cognitive surplus, right? It's not just AI is amazing at this. It helps accelerate the lateral thinking capability and able to ideate a lot faster, a lot wider. But now layering in, my own experience and sort of knowledge and subject matter expertise, now that can really hone that and then accelerate that piece of it, maintaining my uniqueness, but now accelerated through AI, and that's really what we're going for and where we're headed, and sort of the idea behind that. So I want to just give that extra context in there, and hopefully I explained that okay.
I was just going to answer the question with context is king, but you guys said the word context so many times that I'm afraid we might wear it out. So one of the commenters wanted to know the difference between us and OpenAI and other kinds of project solutions. I mean, I think it's the direction we're coming at. Like, we are here to personalize, customize, and empower you. And all this stuff is not really necessary for us to train and improve our offering. So our focus on like what we design and plan and deliver is like, how do we get your essence into a PIE? How do we capture your history, your context, or your team, or your business, or your government? How do we put it all together in a way that's secure and performant and does all the things that we know the big guys can do, but a little scrappier, I'd say better, definitely faster at some of these trends, doing some cool stuff.
Yeah, so this is really fun. This is a book actually that I'm writing on AI, as sort of like a self-help guide, and it's inside the back end of this project. And in here, I ask it how I talk about AI. So not only does it have the context of who I am, but it, as the Chaos Gremlin, it has a different view on like things. So it's kind of fun to see that it's not only talking to me about what I like, how I talk about AI in the book, but it also starts to bring in nuances of how or the things I like, which if you look at tactical nuances, kinetic curiosity. He dissects AI like a bourbon connoisseur, savoring complexity but demanding clarity. And it knows that I like bourbon because that's one of the things that I have. It's inside of my bio or one of the things that it's learned. And because of that, it's trying to actually relate to me in other ways to communicate that same information, even though I'm asking for a search. Then the highlighted like words you're actually seeing is what it pulled and what actually hit for keyword searches inside the data and where that comes back out from the search itself. Depending on how big your search is, it'll get more detailed. But it's kind of fun to even see where it pulled, like when John talks about AI, it's a blend of Sherlock Holmes meets Tony Stark, relentless inquiry wrapped in audacious vision, which is funny to me because I love both
terrifyingly accurate.
I love both of those characters. But and then what I know, OpenAI has projects. Yeah. So projects, the goal with projects is actually much bigger vision wise. We, as part of our goal to allow users to monetize data and eventually monetize themselves, we plan to make not only projects a component of that, but like the way you shape your personalities and your pies as something that you can also leverage. So in my mind, when we were talking about like, what is a pie is data mixed with like the individual mixed with that fundamental personality component, but how those things are used are actually layered in differently and can be layered in differently. And eventually we want the user to have control of those layers and be able to create their own entity and or their own data sets. And then users will be able to share, market, and or just offer them up as free if they choose to the rest of the community. So eventually, yes, the next iteration on sort of what projects is headed towards, we call them smart projects, only because like we're essentially building like a neural network for each chunk of data that you're putting in, will act as sort of like amplifiers to anyone's AI if they choose to, where if you have shared a project with someone or they have purchased that project from you, they can turn project mode on and jump into any project very quickly and amplify their AI in that moment. So if, you know, I really want to understand marketing better, I could have a marketing person have created this awesome, you know, data set that I can leverage to understand how to market to a very specific demographic or target customer. Maybe it's just marketing in general. And I can use the marketing agent based personality to communicate with that data and apply my personality through the pie into that marketing. And now that we have this interesting mesh of it knows who I am, it knows what company I have, it knows what product I'm building. And now I've taken the subject matter expertise of this marketing mind that's built this amazing data set and apply that to how I want to market my product. And I think it just creates really unique opportunities for people.
It's got a lot of legs, a lot of different directions it can go. I think we also want our Nexus users to help influence how they want to see it done and how they want to see it used. Nobody wants to be put in a box.
Well, it's kind of like I was saying earlier, like it's, you know, it's an amplification of your unique self, and AI can't on its own can't replicate that, right? Like not on its own. But if we can, you know, if you can bottle that, then that becomes, like John's saying, your data, you own it, and you can monetize it. And I think everyone has something unique to offer that's valuable. And you know, we're thinking ahead to the future and how incredibly integrated AI is already into all of our everyday lives. I think up to this point, it's just kind of been behind the scenes. Now there's an accessibility dynamic that's flipped, and I think the right thing to do is empower people. So This is how we're trying to do it.
It should be entertaining. I decided to meme myself.
I think one of the interesting nice to haves that came out of a brainstorming session internally, as far as like what we all thought about community and how we would engage. And I know that's what we came up with, like the badging system and how we earn different points and different streaks and whatnot. So I think some of those fun things will be coming out to help encourage engagement, but then also just the collaborative nature of like, I know we have a lot of writers and authors on the platform, how people can share draft ideas, or if someone just needs someone to give their feedback or edit a book or redline something, or someone needs advice for whatever project they're working on. We want to make sure it's super collaborative and give those opportunities for the different users to engage with one another.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I cannot wait, or I really am dying to add to Canvas, is that community reviewer feature that we mocked up. Like, oh man. Well, that's too fun.
And there you have it.
And,
James.
let's see.
Oh, that's funny.
Interesting.
So yeah, so that turned out better than I expected, but yeah, I just turned myself into a meme based off of my book, or how I'm writing my book. So
AI that thinks about
I have to
thinking
post
about
this to
AI that
community.
thinks about thinking.
Yeah, it's just too this is too good. So I gotta
This is
gotta
incredible.
clear this out, and then we'll grab this. We'll clear this out, move this up, and
Would love anybody in our community who's watching along, go make yours. I want to see some funny memes or chaos gremlin images in our community.
and then publish to community.
Publish mine here.
Jump. Let's see what.
My
There we
chaos
go.
gremlin is interesting, but
I love this. That's my favorite. But
That's adorable.
yeah, I like that
It's
way
like
too.
Grimace from McDonald's.
It's what?
Remember Grimace from
Yeah, a
McDonald's?
little. Yeah, it does have a little bit of that in it. All right. Well, I have to drop for a meeting, but this has been awesome. And yeah, like I think jump into community and make your own meme. Make your own Chaos Gremlin meme. So, and actually, that was a pretty good example because I just jumped from Chaos Gremlin to Meme Lord to create my meme.
Meme Lord.
Yeah,
it's right above Randy's favorite.
I don't know how you came up with all of these. Well, I shouldn't say I don't know how. You're one of the most creative people, but there's some very entertaining personas that you've already included.
Well, I figure, everybody loves a good ENTP or Briggs Myers, but if it was going to be more interesting or more engaging to talk about, I figured role-based personas are really what we're talking about at the end of the day. Like, we're trying to combine something that's part like doer outcome based and like how we're trying to get the AI to act. So there's like a little bit of understanding of like what outcome I'm going to get out of that persona. And then there's a little bit of personality in it too. So it's kind of like, how could I name it with both of those things in mind so people understood like what they're going to use it for, as opposed to just having like an ENTP or a Briggs Myers like description, which like, okay, great. What is an ENTP good for? I might know what that is because I am an ENTP, but not everybody's going to, and it doesn't communicate well. So that's kind of like my approach or thought behind it.
Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Like and share, subscribe. Let's get to that $3,000 subscriber level so we can all make stuffies of the Chaos
I was
Gremlin.
gonna say, so we can make this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's only 3,000 now.
What was it before?
You know what I,
I think
just
it was
noticed?
5.
Yours
No,
is on skates, and so's
Yeah.
Nicole's.
Yeah.
Mine's a digital ghost. And James, what did yours come out like?
Mine is also a digital ghost, but it has a guitar pick and a golf tee
No way.
and post-it notes. Yeah, let me publish it to the community.
What?
Great.
Awesome.
It's got you nailed.
That is awesome.
and post-it notes.
Wait, now I'm wondering if there's. Oh my god! Wow, that's kind of cool. Yours, yeah. Yours is almost surreal. Like,
Yeah,
the sticky
well.
notes are interesting.
Yeah, I have to remember things.
Yeah, now I have to jump. I have to look back at mine if
Like-
there's like if I missed a hint in the background or something.
Yeah, the new sticky
No,
note.
mine's literal chaos. My background is a boardroom.
Oh yeah, you got lots of sticky notes too. Look at that.
Yeah,
I feel like it's representative of
it's
unseen.
like I got whiteboards, which is kind of funny. They're in the background,
Move
and
the
then
camera slightly to the right there.
literally my whiteboard is right there, and then the big table and everything.
Which does have a sticky note on it, actually.
That's funny.
The whiteboard does. And he's gone. On that note,
On that note, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll catch you here next week. Let us know what you like. Come talk in Nexus. Show us your gremlin. Have a great
If you want to see something, let us know. We'll plan it out.
absolutely.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Take care, guys. See you on Nexus.
Yep.